watch a movie, or when we read a book or any piece of literature, as we indulge in it, we often ask questions like, what was the author trying to convey? Or, was the movie parallel to real life? But, what if I told you that none of that matters? Not the author, not whether it reflects real life, not even the message. What if every single detail and meaning lives entirely within the work itself? This is what formalism is all about. So, what exactly is formalism? Formalism is one of the literary theories that uphold the concept that the text is the most important element, and without the text, there's nothing. Formalism had first emerged in Russia and Poland, then developed in Europe and gained influence in the United States from 1920s until 1970s. One of the concepts under formalism is defamiliarization, in which originated from Russian theorist and writer Viktor Shklovsky. Then, there's also literariness, in which was invented by Russian formalist Roman Jakobson. As some would agree, there is no better literary work to be scrutinized under the sharp and bright lens of formalism other than a poem of our national laureates, titled The Scapegoat by Usman Awang. The Scapegoat paints the perfect poetic portrayal of the cursed day, almost too bitter, too harsh to be saying out loud without it sounding like a threat, the day where rationality was tested, trampled, and crushed, where tolerance was pushed to the limit. The day when both sky and land were painted red, and red was all that can be seen. The event of May 13. This poem depicts the before, during, and the aftermath of May 13 that set a firm point. It did happen and was true. Not a myth, but a piece of history lost in the archive. In formalist criticism, literariness refers to what makes a text literary, the unique use of language to create meaning and emotion. In Usman Awang's The Scapegoat, this is done through three key elements: imagery, symbolism, and diction. In the beginning, he shows us a stage, the before of May 13, the grins of ministers, the smiles of diplomats, all gestures, no substance. And then, the most unforgettable image, the pot-bellied turkeys with greasy lips. You can almost see them, can't you? A portrait of greed so physical, it feels uncomfortable. But in the May 13 section, the imagery turns violent and censored. And here, the images turn visceral. A chupak of rice now costs a bowl of blood. Food is no longer about nourishment, it's measured in life. And then, the color red washes over everything. It's not just a color anymore, it's a twilight of the capital. The color of the streets, the Klang River, a child's dress. Awang doesn't just describe the violence, he immerses us in it. We don't just read about the riots, we see a city drowning in crimson. Awang's language is sharp, ironic, and jarring. He uses verbal irony throughout the poem. The song of success in capitals becomes a mockery. Our country is prosperous right after the images of starving children twist the meaning entirely. And even the phrase, the ballet of May 13, is a brutal irony, using ballet, a word for beauty and order, to describe chaos and slaughter. Red. Red symbolizes more than blood. It's a stain of violence on a city, the river, even the child's dress. It's a moral and emotional stain that the poem refuses to wash away. Then, there's the most haunting symbol of all, drug politics. Awang coins this term. Politics isn't just corrupt here, it's an addiction. It intoxicates those in power, distorts reality, and leaves the people suffering the consequences. The literariness of The Scapegoat lies in how Awang orchestrates imagery, diction, and symbolism to build a self-contained world of critics. Next, let's delve into defamiliarization. In this poem, Usman Awang defamiliarizes the idea of justice. Normally, courts represent fairness, as we expect courts to bring order. But the poem says, the courts are empty, the judges have lost their mallets. This line suggests that authority has collapsed. Then, the line, now courts are erected in the streets, shows that justice becomes uncontrolled and emotional. Justice suddenly being something chaotic that even the language disappeared based on the line. By making justice look irrational, the poet forces the reader to see how dangerous mob justice and political manipulation can be. Foregrounding, especially emphasis and repetition. One strong example is the repetition of the color red. The repetition of red foregrounds blood, violence, and innocent loss. The color red becomes a symbol of collective suffering. This foregrounding intensifies the emotional weight of the poem, compelling readers to confront normalization of violence inflicted upon society, especially its most vulnerable members. While the people suffer, the poem repeats images of comfort among the elite. The taukes with greasy lips are comfortable at mahjong. The people, laborers, the poor upon their lives hungry children fight over a piece of biscuit. A handful of rice is a family's meal of porridge. This contrast is repeated to emphasize inequality. The irony highlights how ordinary people internalize political fear while the upper class lives leisurely in the midst of chaos by taking advantage of the working class. So, through defamiliarization, Usman Awang makes justice and politics appear frightening and unreal. The autonomy of text as one of the core principles of formalism views a literary work independently and means the text comes entirely from its structure and language, not from the poet, historically context, and reader interpretation. We can see this through rejection of external context. The Scapegoat by Usman Awang never explains why May 13 happens, but through structure. The meaning is produced internally. The poem moves from before to May 13 and to after. This formal sequence alone depicts the sense of collapse and the aftermath of said incident even without any outside explanation. Then, in the May 13, the same object, rice, is altered. A chupak of rice caused a bowl of blood, and the repetition of the word rice also illustrates in a handful of rice is a family meal of porridge. We can see that the repetition and contrast creates meaning. Rice has become the eternal measure of life and death. Finally, how repetition forms the meaning. In the after section, the question and repeated diction, scapegoats. Where are the scapegoats? Which followed by the lines, the scapegoats are here. This narration depicts how accusation is formed through repetition alone. Through autonomy of text, the scapegoat depicts meaning entirely from its own language choices and structure. The poem does not only explain the brutal nature of injustice and blatant accusation, it also represents it through forms. He doesn't just tell us about injustice. He makes us see it in bread, feel it in hunger, and hear it in the hollow applause of a broken system.